In 1939, Billie Holiday sang these words in a song called Strange Fruit. Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root. Recently, I began seeing reports of black men and women being found hanging from trees in America. Strange fruit. So I went back to listen to the song. I needed to understand why words sung from more than 80 years ago could suddenly feel so close to the present. And afterward, I found myself thinking about the tree, thinking about what a tree represents to us. Life. Its roots reach deep into the earth, giving it strength to stand through seasons and storms. Its branches stretch outward and provide shade. Birds build their homes there. Animals find shelter there. Its leaves gives us oxygen. Its fruit can give us food. Children climb its branches. Families sit beneath its shade. We tie yellow ribbons around them in hopes that our loved ones return. A tree can live long enough to watch generations of human beings come and go. There is something peaceful about a tree, something safe, something almost sacred. It is a giver of life. And then human beings took something that represents life and used it to display death. Black bodies were hung from its branches, not only to take a life, but to send a message to the people who remained. Be afraid. Imagine what that does to a human being, to look at something that has always represented shelter and suddenly see terror. To look at something that provides refuge and realize that someone has deliberately transformed it into a warning. And I wonder, what happens inside a person who witnesses something like that? What happens to their understanding of safety? What happens when the tree that once meant shade, shelter, life, and hope becomes something they are afraid to look toward? And what happens to the generations who come afterward? Because terror doesn't always end when the moment ends. Sometimes memory carries it forward. That is part of what made Strange Fruit so difficult to hear. Billie Holiday wasn't simply singing about trees. She was asking America to look at what has been placed upon them. Human beings, people with names, people with families, people with hopes and dreams. Stories that existed long before their lives ended beneath those branches. And here we are, more than 80 years later. I am not here to tell you how every one of those recent hangings happened. I don't know. But I know what the image awakens. How can a song written from the pain of another generation still feel close enough for us to recognize today? Maybe that is why remembering matters. Not so that we remain angry, and not so that one generation carries hatred for another. We remember so that we know what we never want humanity to become again. A tree should be allowed to be a tree. A place of shade, a place of shelter, a home, a giver of life, of hope. And every human being should be allowed the same dignity, to live without being turned into a warning for somebody else, to exist without their humanity being reduced to the color of their skin, to walk beneath the trees of this country and experience what those branches were always meant to offer: shelter, peace, and the freedom to simply be. Life, hope. Perhaps there are some chapters of this history that don't need to be rewritten. They need to be finished. And can we love humanity enough to finally let this chapter be one of them? Repair America, one heart at a time.